I was wondering, what did you think when you read the script for the first time of this movie?
A lot of things because I was thinking, wow, it's dark. Wow, it's dark, and because you know that I do a lot of movies. That's the first time I was in each movie I do. I always want to have something like very lighter at the end, like some light
Redemption.
more, redemption or more. Comment on dit espoir, like hope. So thank you. And it was, but you have it in the movie. But for me, it was difficult to see the first time. So I had to read it again and again. And I talked with Anne, and I saw it. But you know, from where I come from, it was difficult for me to see it. And I was thinking about the darkness of it and about the topic. The topic is so tough and hard. I was maybe too fragile for that. And at the end, I had it. And I was, okay, let's do it, because that's exactly how the audience gonna feel. It's somewhere that we don't want to be, where we don't want to be. But it will make us think about all of that. And we will have to face it, because we so far from all of that. We talk about it, we see the news, we read the newspaper, but feeling it is different. And I think that's why how it was strong, and that's why I wanted to do it, and I was ready to go for that.
Why do you need every time something light in the end? Because life isn't like that every time. I mean, you said I need.
Yeah, of course, life is not like that. But why are we doing movies?
To entertain.
To entertain and make people feel better.
Not always.
Not always, but that's my way to do it. Everybody's different, but my motivation is like that, and it's always. And so yeah, I want people, think. I want people move and realize. I want to show stuff, but also I want to give lights, because that's my way to see life, and I want to share it. And I know that it's not everybody like that, but it's my way to do it, and that's why I know life and movies is not the same, but that's why I love movies, because it's not like life.
But when
and we all do.
But when Anne came to you and told you you don't have to be funny in this movie, because she told us that she told you don't make jokes and you don't have to be funny, was it kind of difficult for you, because you are such a funny person normally?
No, it's not, because as an actor, you know that you have like specific stuff to do, and you still have between the takes to make jokes. So, and it was interesting, because at the beginning, when you see the character for the first time, you can think that it's gonna be the same kind of a character. You know what I mean? Because there is still some jokes, it's still loud, so you can think that it's gonna be the same. And I like the fact that she does that. And if you look at it precisely, when you hear him for the first time, loud, making jokes and laughing, it's not on screen. It's not on screen. And then when you see him, it's different. And it was, I think, was very smart from her, and very beautiful. So I like it that way. That doing the small change and do it like with the audience, not changing completely directly to the movie. The change came during the movie, and I like that.
When we talked to Anne before, she was telling us that it was important for her to cast one of the caps to be a black cap, because he can be more identifying with the immigrant. He can see himself maybe in this situation in another life. So how do you think it was for your character and for yourself, as son of immigrants yourself, dealing with this topic?
So let's talk about Arrested first. So for my character was of course something very interesting, because yes, dealing with this as a cop, it's very difficult. Now, added to it the fact that being black, and the character, if you noticed, he was born in another country. He came later. So this is not really his country. It became his country and he became a cop. How he can do, because this guy could be him. So how can you think, how do you manage with that? Because you breaking the rule for him, it's not the same for him that for Eric and Virginie. It's obvious that the consequences are not the same. If Aristide we did that alone, the message would be different. You know what I mean? So that's why it is tricky, and that's what cost to my character to become a cop, to be accepted from the other. How was that? How difficult what it was? How? A lot of things going on here. So that's how breaking the rules, it's another journey for him than the others. So that's why he cannot, the freedom is not the same. The room he has to move is not the same. So that's what was very interesting to deal with that. And that's why he's making jokes. That's why he's loud. That's why he wants to sing, because there is no space. He want to breathe. So the singing, laughing, making jokes, being loud, make it sound, because it's too heavy. It's too heavy. And I like that, expressing stuff like that in that way. We're not saying, being black in France is difficult, or we're just showing how we can deal with that. Taking off your clothes every day. What does it mean? Why? Because everything is so heavy. Everything's so difficult. And just showing it, not saying it, I think it's stronger and more beautiful.
And for
Did
you
you see Les
personally?
Miserables? Did you see Les Miserables?
Of course I did.
I love that movie so much. I mean, because what you tell, it's so heavy. It's so, I mean,
and
they're in
Elijah
the
is a
same
good
situation.
friend. Yeah, Elijah,
Naturally, is a good friend.
Yeah, and just that's why we love movies, because we can show stuff, and it's not really the life. You can show the life, and you can trick it a little bit, and you make people move.
Who's a more fun guy, Mark Wahlberg or Chris Pratt?
That come out of nowhere.
We're traveling in space. I never met Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, I thought you were in a Transformers movie.
Transformers, but I just did the voice for one of the robots.
Got it.
I never met him. But
Oh.
Chris Pratt is really funny.
He's a funny guy.
He's a funny guy. Yeah, funny
Okay.
guy. Good, very good actor. Cool and funny guy.
Okay. And how is it, like, doing the Hollywood thing and then going to France? Does it ever feel like a come down, or are you
He's offended. He's offended.
Okay.
What did you do? He's offended. Yeah.
No.
You're a friend of what? Mark Wahlberg? What's going on? Coronavirus.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Medical issue.
I say, yeah.
Sorry, I have
Your coronavirus because you too.
Yeah. You can use it.
No, I'm really happy that can happen.
Yeah.
We were talking about, Fan Bingbing. I did X-Men with her, and we were in the same situation. We had a big success in our country, and then we were able to be in a Hollywood movie, and we were like the smallest actor, and we were talking about that with her, and it feels good.
Yeah.
Because we were in the same situation. It feels good because she said, nobody says no to me in my country, she was saying. And it's good to have
humbling.
Humbling, and going back to the beginning, fighting to have something, to have respect, to have success, just going back to because that's what we do, and I think it's good. And then when you go back to your country, you appreciate. Because it's not normal. Like everybody says, yes, you the best. You're all the compliment is the way people are treating you. It's not normal. But when it's your whole life, you're used to it. and you think it's the life, but it's not. So when you have that, I think it's good because it's a little bit schizophrenic, but at the same time, it gives you a lot of humility, and it's good. I love that, doing the casting and still having that fire to being cast. I love that. That's what we do and we live for.
That's beautiful.
And are you still doing funny stuff on radio somewhere, or did
No.
you stop it?
I stopped.
But what was it like? I mean, radio and now movie. I mean, it's radio. It's a nice. I'm radio.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Yeah, I'm radio
media,
too.
no?
How did
I
we
love
get into
it.
Hollywood?
Also,
I love
to be
it.
funny, no?
I love it. I like it. I was doing funny stuff in radio. Then I went to TV, stage, and then movies. I miss that. That's why when I do the press for movies, I do radio a lot. I feel home. I love it.
You were talking about before of the fact that in Hollywood it's more difficult to get main roles, and in France for you, you got to a point that people will not say no to you. And I was interviewing once the actor from Serial Bad Wedding that is playing the African Dead, and I asked him about black characters in French cinema, and he told me there are no good characters for black actors except for Omar Sy. So what do you think about this? Do you think that there is a place in black cinema, in French cinema, for deep black characters?
It's coming. Look at the Misérables. It's really coming. Of course, it's not going as fast as we want, but it's coming. Since the Untouchable, since the way the thing started for me, there is a change. And of course, it's not enough for all, and it's not always only for black people. It's for all the minorities. You know, Arab people, Asian people. It would still have to work on that. But at the same time, I think I'm in the wrong place to say it. You know, so that's why it's difficult for me. But I know that it's not enough. But it's our responsibility in France as actor and producer and director to think about it and do that change. But it's also as an actor, the choices you make, it's the same too, because the long I remember, I refused a lot of roles, even when I wasn't that successful. As a comedian, I had a lot of propositions for some roles in movies. I refused. So it's also what you're accepting for the change. So it's too easy to take the role as a dealer or as a cliche role and say, that's the only thing I have. You have the right and the freedom to say no. And maybe that's people will think, you know, if it's nobody will take it, you know what I mean? So it's not that simple, you know, and I'm very careful when I talk about that because it's not that simple. This is true. There is a lot of work about that. We need more representativity about minorities, for sure. That's a work that we have to do. And we all responsible for that. Sure, 100%. But there is some changes. And when it's not just saying it, live it, please. You have to live it, that when you have that role, you take it or not. That's I think the work we all have to do. There is I think we all responsible for that. And yes, this is true. But the change is here too.
But you now live in the country of Donald Trump. Maybe it's not that easy in that country.
So for what?
Now you live in the country of Donald Trump, who's the president. Maybe that in that country it is not that easy to live it because he is. I mean, you know, he's not nice to minorities.
We're talking about Hollywood. There is more minorities visible in Hollywood than in France. So it's not the right example, I think, because really, even if it's even still not enough in Hollywood, in France it's worse than that. It's worse in France. So for this example, we worst. So before talking about there, we have to talk about here. Our country is worst. So we have more work to do.
How important is your charisma to your success? And how long have you been very charismatic?
Do I have to answer to that?
Well, no. I mean, just like I might have framed that the wrong way. Like I would say, like you're a charismatic actor. Like you're very like your talent comes from your likability and through your charm.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering, like, when did you, like, how long have you been, like, have you always been like this?
Well, thank you for that, but
I'm sorry about the framing. I didn't mean to be...
No. You're not mean. It's just because it's a lot, you know. And thank you for that, but it's I cannot. Yes, I'm charismatic, so I've been into have 5. I can't,
Okay.
and I don't know if I'm able to say I'm charismatic or not.
Right.
You know, it's difficult for me. You know, it's difficult for me to talk about me like that. You know.
Okay.
So I don't know, and yeah, it's difficult for me to
Okay.
to talk about me like that in this way. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
You really had a turning point in your life. Sorry, you really had a turning point with this one movie. I don't know the title in English. Untouchable. Yeah. At this turning point, do you remember what this? I mean, changed for you? The first thing that you said, "Oh my God, now it's like my whole life is different now."
No, because it's not happening like that. It's phase after phase, like event after event. It's small steps every day. It's sometimes, and it at the time was like every hour there was like something, but it's not like everything's coming in the same. You know, it's just step after step. It was a lot, but it was amazing. It's an amazing. It's when you have something like that in your life. When that happens, it's a great blessing.
It's quite a while that you live in the States, in Los Angeles. So is it still easier to be funny in French than in English?
No, it's not, because nobody speaks French. So I had to learn English, and trying to be funny in English is more difficult. But I've you know, I see myself, and I have all my French circle, so I can be funny with them, and I try in English, and it's more difficult.
It's not this bit too much. Don't you feel it's a bit too much? Sometimes people think that you are so nice, always cheerful and funny. It's kind of image on you.
It is. It's not kind of. It is an image of me, but that's what's happening when you're doing what I'm doing, as an actor or as a singer, or there's images of you, and my image, it's different for every person. The image you have of me is not the same of her, and it's like that for everybody, and I know that. That's why this kind of question, it's not possible for me to answer, because it's not really me, you know. And when you're aware of that, you're good. You know, you start to become crazy when you think you are that image. You know what you're talking to me? You're talking about the image you see, but I know that my wife, my kids know me, and what they know is not the image that you see. And I'm more focused to stay the guy they see and they love than the image. And I think you get lost when you want to be both. You can't, and the image is not real. And an image, it's still, it's not organic. It's dead. And as a human being, you live, you move, you're organic. So you move, you change, but the image is the same. So the image you all have is the one from the untouchable. But I'm not this one. But I know what you see, and I understand what you watch. But you have a phrase, I don't know if I can translate like good in English, but in French is there's nothing more crazy than the king who think he's a king.
So
I live with that.
It's nice to have a family, somebody very close and somebody who know you very much. It's easier to keep yourself.
Exactly. It could be a family, friends, everything like that. You know, someone you work with but you trust very well. Can be your dog. It's just some eyes that they can look at you in a good way. That's the only thing you need, because if you see a change in that look, that you're gonna start to, okay, I need to fix stuff, you know. So that's my way to deal with it. But I don't have the remedy of it. I don't know how, but it's my way to doing it, and I'm happy like that.
If in a manner of way, it was also like a curse and a blessing, because now Hollywood producers see you in that way of the untouchable guy and want to cast you to the same kind of characters. And also, what did you think about the American remake?
So it was you know what? What happened to me cannot be a curse. It would be so ungrateful to say something like that in my perspective. You know, it's impossible. It's just a blessing, a big one. You know, and even sometimes you wonder, do I deserve it? It's a lot. You know, so there's no way that can be a curse. You know, there is like stuff you have to deal with, but you win so many with that, so much with that, so that it's not. I will never see what happened to me in a negative way. I can't associate what happened to me with the negative. You know, it's all positive, all good, and yeah, the remake. I saw the upside.
Yes,
and I was really surprised in a good way. In a very good way.
They nailed it.
They nailed for me, because you know it was difficult to. The adaptation for me was for the social part, you know, the cultural part of it, you know, and how they will, you know, deal with that. It's because it was so French that how you do that, you know, in US. And they did really good, you know, and it was really American. They I think they had it, and the cast was really, really smart, and because Kevin Hart did an amazing job. I can tell he did an amazing job. Bryan Cranston was good, but there were more questions about him, and Kevin Hart did really, really good, because he was you know, in the middle of what he used to do. And the part, it wasn't like too like dramatic, but he was, you know, I think he find the right tone, like the smartest tone for that. You know what? I saw it. I was happy. It was a good movie, actually, and I was really surprised in a good way.
So talking about US and Hollywood, we'll see you next year in Jurassic Park.
Yes.
So what do you expect, and what can we expect?
I expect a lot of fun during the shooting, and you can expect everything, but I will say nothing.
What a surprise! What a surprise!
Thank you so much.
Thank you.